Okay, welcome everybody. This is an important day in the history of a couple of people, myself and my guest today, and I'll introduce both of us here in a second. But today is a huge day because this is the very first Google Plus Hangout. That's right, the first Google Plus Hangout that were ever done for Advisor Evolved. And today I'm very lucky to have an awesome guest here with us today. Her name is Erin Nutting, and she is a president and agency owner of Integrity Insurance Services, which is an independent insurance agency in Tucson, Arizona. And the reason that Erin is on with us today is because today we're talking about branding your agency for the modern day consumer, branding your agency for Generation Y and the millennials. And there's a number of reasons why that's very important. Today, we're going to uncover some of those reasons and kind of talk about how Erin is applying some of these strategies to her agency and her brand, and how that's all working out for her. So before we get to Erin, I want to introduce myself. My name is Chris Langell. I'm the founder of Advisor Evolved. Advisor Evolved is a platform that helps independent agency owners and financial planners, basically dominate online. We provide agency owners and financial advisors with modernized, SEO optimized websites, as well as marketing consulting and inbound marketing strategies so that you know how to use the website as a tool. So enough about me. Erin, welcome to the first ever Advisor Evolved Hangout.
Thanks, Chris. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be a part of this. Not only am I stoked to be a part of this podcast, but I'm stoked to actually be a part of Advisor Evolve. Congratulations in unleashing this awesome company, not only just to my industry in the independent insurance world, but I feel like it's endless. So congratulations on your launch. I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so I was pretty excited to have you on because number one, you're super cool, and we just kind of hit it off. But you're doing some really cool things with your branding, and one of the, I guess, more important areas of running an independent shop, whether it be a financial advisory firm or an independent agency, any agency or firm that doesn't have the financial backing of a bigger company like an Allstate or a State Farm, or one of these companies that has $1 billion marketing budget. As an independent shop, we have to do things a little bit differently and be a little bit more resourceful in how we market ourselves and brand ourselves. But I'm pumped to have you on because you're doing some awesome stuff with your branding, and I think it's something that a lot of people could probably take and just kind of gain from some of your insights. So if you guys have not yet checked Erin out online, you can check her out on Facebook, Instagram. Like, you're all over the place, right?
Yes, I try to be. It didn't start out that way, truth be told. It was kind of an intimidating task in saying, what is my brand? What am I going to do? What do I stand for? And so I feel like when I started Integrity, my main focus was I needed to develop something that I believed in and that I was proud of. So of course, Integrity Insurance Services was born. So with that being said, my next goal was I needed it to go huge. I needed it, at a level where people could recognize my logo, they could recognize my name, they could recognize me being affiliated with Integrity Insurance Services. So yes, I basically saddled up and found a logo that I just loved, and it's everywhere now. So that's my biggest thing, is I like to make sure, especially in my world where I feel we have, throw a rock and you hit an insurance agent basically anywhere here in Tucson. So with me, I needed to make sure that I stayed relevant, and I stayed where people were, oh yeah, you're Integrity Insurance. You're the eye. You're the eye. I've seen your logo around town. So yes, I try to be everywhere. That's been really key for me.
Yeah, that's great, because one of the things and one of the problems that I see with a lot of agency owners is they have difficulty sort of getting themselves out there. And if they are able to, create some type of brand for themselves, they don't really do it. They're not really all in. There's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. Just because you have a Facebook page and just because you have some social media accounts doesn't mean that you've won that battle yet. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. Like you said, just because you have a Facebook doesn't mean anything. Anyone can have a Facebook. My 11-year-old daughter can have a Facebook. She doesn't, but she could. It's to the point of what makes your Facebook different than somebody else's Facebook. What makes your social media different? Are you being relative to what's going on in your community, or are you just inundating them with why they should call you, in my case, for an insurance quote? Or, people, especially in our generation, they don't want to see that. They don't want to be sold. They don't want to be talked at. So, like you said, anyone can have a Facebook or a Twitter. And as I've learned recently in the Twitter world, I didn't know much about Twitter. So I really needed to educate myself. And what is it that my brand can bring to Twitter, and what can I get from it? So it's all about creating the social media presence that no one else is doing.
Yeah. And you bring up a good point, when you say people in our generation, they don't want to be sold. And really, in the end, I don't think really anybody wants to get sold. But in particular, the Generation Y, the millennial buyer, the people that sort of have tuned out the more traditional wisdom marketing, which is usually, interruption-based marketing, TV and radio ads, and ads on websites and stuff like that. The millennial generation and the Gen Y generation, you really have to approach them a little bit differently from a branding and marketing perspective, because the reality is, I don't think they really they don't trust people as easily as, maybe people that are in an older age demographic would. So the thing that I really dig about your brand, it's very simple, it's clean, it's modern. And I think that's very important because, younger people, that's what they're attracted to. They are attracted to modern, clean, simple. And it kind of surprises me, honestly, to see as many agency and firm owners out there that still haven't really gotten that. And it might not be to any fault of their own. Most agency owners, they're not branding specialists. They sell insurance. They're not designers. They sell insurance. So it's not always their fault, but hopefully by, having conversations like this, we can sort of bring that to light, because it's extremely important. Your book of business, as the book of business ages, like, you want to grow with your book. But it's almost like professional sports. This is kind of how I tell it to other agency owners. And, professional sports is like a young man's game. The older you are, when you're 30 years old in professional football, you're considered like old. And I almost think that this business is somewhat like that as well, in that, in order for your agency to grow and really last, you have to be able to attract a Gen Y millennial buyer, but not just as a consumer or a customer, but you need to be able to attract those people as employees, because if you really want to grow, you need to grow the right way. And, it's just so important, to do that.
It is so important. And you brought up a really good point too, as far as having your brand grow. So with that being said, when you're growing your brand, you need to adapt your brand as well. You don't want to let all of your chickens out of the hen house at one point in time. You need to be strategic about what you're doing with your brand. A lot of people in my life and in my community and in my circle have mentioned something to me, that I like the way that you don't just throw it out there all at one time. And there's a reason that I chose not to do that. I developed my brand. My logo was first, because that was important to me, and that was who I was. So in unleashing that, then I was able to unleash things like my blog, integrityandmeals.com. It came naturally at that point. It just fit. People got to know me. People got to know what I was about, why I did what I did, my family. So it's really important that when you're trying to grow within your agency and in your own community, that you don't let everything out at one time, because people like the element of surprise and they get excited to be a part of that. So as you know, right now, obviously, you are the one doing it. We are in the process of holding back integrityinsure.com through Advisory Vault, and we are having a launch date of July 1st, which is incredible because we are going to be able to unleash this new facet of our agency, new, cooler, awesome streaming things that no one else is doing. And so I think that when you're saying things like in our world and what we do have competitors out there, and they are the big names. You know, they're the State Farms, the Farmers, and the Travelers of the world, and they're everywhere. And so we really have to compete with that and not only provide them with the recognition of our brand, but also be able to say, oh yeah, no, like she's with Integrity Insurance, and people know that name. Will I ever be a State Farm Insurance? Well, gosh, that would be amazing. But for right now, it's just one step at a time and adapting my brand throughout my growing process and the customers that I have in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And you know, as far as the competition that you mentioned, like the crazy thing is, you know, and like I said, we have to be creative as independents. But some of the other big brands have already caught on to this, and they're way ahead of the independent space as it relates to marketing and branding for millennials. And I'll give you a perfect example, which is Progressive. So a couple nights ago, my son, who is 6, he plays this game on my iPhone all the time called Doodle Jump. And Doodle Jump is like it's like a character that jumps all around the screen. But there was an ad. He has like the free version. So there was like an ad that popped up, and it was a Progressive ad, and it was a cartoon character version of Flo. And it was like cartoon letters, and you know, I saw that, and I'm like, man, that's pretty slick. You know, they're trying to get in, and they're trying to build their brand equity with a 6-year-old. I mean, you know, so that when that 6-year-old is, you know, 16, 17, 18 years old, Progressive has grown up in his life with him. So
absolutely. How crazy is that? You're a dad, I'm a mom. I see it. My kids see it. They know the jingles for the local collision centers, or, you know, like you said, Progressive. My son had a temporary tattoo of Flo on his arm over the weekend, and he's 2. So, I mean, it's like you said, they infuse themselves, and that's what we try to do. In some of the ways that I try to really make focus of that is through my social media. The other thing too, though, I think people are losing a lot of gear towards is texting. Clients like to text, and not even just people of our generation. I mean, I have people in older generations who would prefer to text with me. So in setting up a text, obviously with the understanding of there are certain things that I will not communicate by text, but creating that conversation and that relationship, they get that feeling of, oh man, I can really get her any time of the day. So it creates another face, another branding opportunity, because for me, I also have a virtual business card. So if you're an iPhone user, or if you're a Droid user, you can actually get my virtual business card by me sending it to you, and bam, not only do you have it there to contact me, but you have it to give to your friends. So I mean, for everyone, that is really a win-win situation.
That's awesome. Yeah. And you know, you talk about communication and like them feeling that they can get you at any time. And it's funny, like you said, with texting, like, you know, iPhones are not just for 12 and 13-year-olds. I mean, I have clients that come in here, they're in their 60s and they're texting people. And if they're doing it, like, you know, younger people are doing it. But you brought up a good point about like communication and like having that conversation. And, you know, really that's a big part of branding for Generation Y is, you know, how are you communicating with those people? And, you know, texting, like you said, live chat, social media. There are actually companies on Twitter that actually use Twitter as a support or customer service outlet. So you could literally tweet to a company a question, or you're having an issue or whatever, and they'll address your question public on Twitter.
Which is so cool.
yeah, email, video meetings like, Skype, Google Hangout type of stuff. So, that type of stuff is very important. I mean, I know a lot of agency management systems now are starting to integrate with, SMS messaging. Like I think QQ Solutions and Easy Links, and there's probably a lot more that are going to be adding it because it's that big of a thing. I mean, I'd have clients that I've talked to maybe, 2 or 3 times, and the rest of our conversations have been through text, and it's been like that for a couple years. So
Right.
it's really like how people prefer to be, how they prefer to communicate. And that's like a big deal. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I'm actually one of those people who communicated with a big mortgage company. What was it, last week? I could not find this mortgagee clause for this customer, and we needed an answer right away. It was a Sunday because I typically work 7 days a week. And I tweeted, which is so funny because up until this last year, I really didn't even have a Twitter account. So I tweeted this company, and within moments, I had someone respond back to me, tell me, we're not open today, but we will contact you tomorrow, and then we will go ahead and, do this, that, and the other. And not only that, they actually did it. So they contacted me the next day, and it resonated with me because I believe in superior customer service, but how can I take my customer service to a level like that? So I instilled that in my agency as well. I've been, part of it too is that if customers don't know that you do that, then there really is no point. So you need to make sure you're educating your customers. This is what I can offer for you. This is what I can give you if you're not available to pick up that phone and call me. So it's just making sure your customers are also educated about what you can do for them.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah. And the other thing too is, what I've sort of have realized, and I'm even starting to become this way myself a little bit, is that, it's getting harder and harder to, I guess, build trust with the Generation Y people. Like there's some of them are somewhat like introverted, so they don't really want to talk to you anyway. They'd rather text with you. And at the end of the day, that can present some challenges because in the end, a face-to-face appointment or a face-to-face meeting is going to be much more impactful than a text message would be. But in the same way, I guess, you have to communicate with them on their terms. But just building that trust, like, you were saying before with your customer service, like, they expect to get a quick reply from you if they, text you or email you or whatever, because, quite frankly, there's a lot of other companies, not just insurance companies, but there's a lot of other companies in general that we're being compared to, Apple, Starbucks, Amazon, Zappos, like these companies that have like a very, evident and obvious like customer experience culture. It's so hard, it feels like nowadays. And I'm, like I said, even getting to that point now where I'm like, if somebody calls my phone and I don't recognize the number, like I just don't pick it up. I know that might be a weak example, but I just like don't trust people, I guess, as easily as maybe I used to or something. And I don't know. It's kind of weird, actually,
I don't think it's weird at all. I think it's very valid, especially this day where we're at, not only just in our lives, but in our business lives. I'm constantly getting solicited. I need the newest, greatest, web surface that's going to take me to the next level, or I need a new company credit card. I mean, it's very common to where solicitation or the standard marketing still comes into play. But like you were saying, with our generation specifically in this situation, we are harder to trust because if someone doesn't show an invested interest in us, we have a hard time in showing an invested interest in them. So the biggest asset that I always offer to my customers is part of who I am and how I grew up and how I was brought up, and probably like yourself, I like to be a part of something that is going to be successful or something that's going to be fun and exciting. And it's not about the money. It's not about any of that stuff. It's just about feeling like, hey, I was a part of so-and-so and what she did, and how cool is that? So I think our generation specifically, we are the new business owners. We are the new families. We are the people that are starting to be the up and coming, if you will.
Yeah.
It's really important to reach back to the people that we're trying to help and say, how can I help you? Can we do something like an unleashing party for your new winery? Or can we do, a Facebook, as much as something so easy as sharing your new business on my business page to say, hey, check this place out. It's so important that we dive back into them, because that is really how we develop those relationships that help them trust us. Because like you said, it's so easy just to turn away and say, oh yeah, that's just my insurance agent. Well, I don't want to be their insurance agent. I want to be Erin. I want them to know who I am and that they can trust me.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Yeah, it seems like with the Generation Y or millennials, we're in a time where you really interruption-based marketing really doesn't have any impact on them. It's more now permission-based marketing, where you almost need their permission, like you need their trust way ahead of time. They need to know you for a little while before they'll let you quote their insurance or whatever. So
absolutely, that's such a huge point, which kind of brings me to something cool that you and I have decided to do with my new website that's coming, Unleash, that I'm hoping to kind of solve a lot of these problems, in that being able to provide your customer a face is so invaluable, that it's almost silly to disregard it. So with the new website that Advisor Evolved is creating for my agency, I will actually be able to do a secure live chat with my customers. I can do quoting online. I can also go ahead and do, we'll call it a video meeting, but I can actually have face-to-face time with my customers and say, it doesn't matter, honestly, where in the world I am or where in the world they are. I write business throughout the country. I can help them, and that they know what I look like. They know how I talk. Basically what you see is what you get with me. And that they can develop that, okay, I know that she's going to take care of me. And that is something you came up with to really provide value to my customers that I've really never been able to do before. Because let's be honest, people, millennials, it's really great with anyone to say, oh, my office is going to look like this, or, oh, if they come in and they see paperwork scattered across the place, they're going to know I'm busy. But the reality of it is, how many of your customers actually are coming into your office this day and where we're at in our business?
right.
And I don't know about you, but I would say 97% of my customers have physically never come into my agency.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, I don't have a lot either.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's just the way of our business. And honestly, I bought my most recent car, I bought my car over the phone. I went down, I picked it up, signed a couple dotted lines, and I left. And it was the best experience at a car dealership I've ever had. So I want to create that ease of transition. Changing insurances does not have to be scary. It shouldn't be scary. And if it is scary, then you really should not be doing it. So that's part of creating the environment for our customers, that this is what we offer. This is our brand that is standing behind what we offer, and then creating that ease of transition through things like texting, live chat, social media, etc.
Yeah, definitely. And it's important to, I guess, touch on, a lot of people do operate that way offline, whether it be over the phone, over the internet. For the people that are coming into, your physical agency, there's a couple of things, like there's like a checklist of things that you really need to go through as well, because like my office is inside of a financial planning firm. We are, our target demographic, our target audience are people that are 55 and older. They expect our office to look a certain way when they come in. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And,
Yes.
millennials and younger people, it's no different. It's no different from, with them. If they walk into our office and, it's kind of like the pale and stale, wallpaper and like the ugly, yellowing ceiling tiles and stuff like that.
Nobody wants that. Yeah, nobody wants that. It's yucky. No.
Yeah, I mean, having some flat screens on the wall, modern decor, chairs, stuff like that. Like, that kind of goes a long way. I mean, your physical appearance, and it's unfortunate, but people, when it comes to that, can be a little bit shallow. I mean, you don't want someone coming into your agency and seeing, wallpaper coming off the walls and, you know, wood panel and stuff like that, it just kind of gives off the impression that you're not really, you know, taking care of stuff. So it's weird how that can really impact your decision, but it does.
Well, and I don't think what you're saying is to tell people to go out in debt and furnish their office with a whole new chic. That's not what you're saying.
Right.
What you're saying is you can keep it simple. You don't need to spend a ton of money. More importantly, if you're like, I have a lot of insurance agents that I come across that have been in business for like 30, 40 years, and they have a very down home, your neighborhood insurance feel about it. And that is great. And that is okay. But I don't think what agents or anyone really in business, what they realize what they're doing to their brand when they create an environment that the customer comes in and says, oh, wow, you've got 5 file folders on your spread out all over your desk, or you've got, you know, just minutia of stuff all over the place. I don't think you realize what you're doing to your brand when someone comes in and says, oh, you know, a dirty desk is a busy desk. That's not the case. Yeah. So I think in what you're trying to say and convey is that you don't have to spend a fortune. In fact, I encourage you not to. Keep your overhead as low as possible, because it's going to allow you to take that money and put it where it belongs, like your branding of your company, your logo, your website. If you don't have an awesome agency website and you're looking to take your growth to the next level, it's a must. And you must have it where it's mobile. You must have it where it's functional. And there are a lot of things that I think people don't realize, that by ordering, you know, sacrificing the website and sacrificing all those key components to do the other, I'm going to call it trinkets and trash, to do the other things like that, they don't realize that they're actually taking away from their brand. So if you walk into an agency, for example, if you would walk into my agency, you wouldn't think, oh, this lady's been around for 40 years. You would think, oh, wow, it's slick, it's modern, it's, you know, very clean. And that's really what I want my clients to come into in any situation, not just in my agency or, you know, at a place, but even when I come to their home, I need to be my brand. I need to be put together. I need to have their policy information in an organized fashion. As much as you have this wonderful relationship with their client, you still are earning their trust every time you talk to them.
Yeah, no doubt. So what are a couple of things, like, I know you told me before, like you go to like some like networking groups and stuff, and just small stuff like this. Like I think you're wearing it right now, the name tag.
Oh, yes.
And small, like what are some little like tricks that you know, might be able to you know, share with people? I'll put you on the spot real quick, but I know the name tag has been working for you.
The name tag has been working for me. It's actually really crazy, and I will share this story with you, and of course all the other people who are watching, but primarily with you because you know a little bit more about my background. So my husband is a contractor, and he is not a networking guy, not his thing. And he recommended to me when I started Integrity that I needed to get a name tag. Like, you're crazy. That's just, to me, I feel like I'm working at like a fast food joint with my name tag. I don't need a name tag, you know? And he goes, no, you need a name tag, because people need to be able to, 1, relate your name to your face, and 2, people more than likely will forget your name, so it's going to help them feel a little bit more comfortable. Okay, well, whatever. So $15, I went to Office Max, got my little name tag. I was pretty impressed because it came back with my logo and my things that I wanted on it. But I didn't really understand the power of it until the last couple months. So I started doing an experiment a few months ago. I went out to lunch with a friend of mine, and we went to an amazing Mexican food restaurant. And I'm telling you, this is probably the best service that I'd ever had at a restaurant. Food was amazing too, but when we were walking out, being someone who was previously in the service industry as well as my husband, I really wanted to make a point to tell that manager, the guy in the khaki pants and the polo, that it was really great, because I would want somebody to tell me that they were happy. That's part of what we do with Facebook reviews, Twitter reviews, things like that. I want to hear when our agency is being successful. So I just went up, told him the waitress name was Katie, and I'll never forget it because she really was great, and I've gone back several times since. And he goes, you know what? Thank you for telling me that. I'm so excited that you did that you came out of your way and did that. And then he goes, oh, are you in insurance? And here I am like, what is this guy talking? How does he know that? And come to find out, I had just left a networking event earlier, and I had this on at my networking event, and I didn't take it off. So he had noticed my name tag and that it said Integrity Insurance Services. And he asked me if I was in insurance. So of course that just, you know, you could get me talking for years about insurance because that's what I love to do. But we started talking, engaging. He goes, you know what? I'm really unhappy with where I'm at. And would you mind taking a look at my stuff for me? Come to find out, the guy was the owner of the restaurant. So not only did he want me to take a look at his stuff, but he was so prepared. He went back into his back office, grabbed his entire stack of deck pages, came out, gave it to me, and I quoted all of his stuff and wrote it 2 weeks later. So it was nuts. So I didn't really put two and two together, and I said, you know, I'm on to something. Like we're gonna put this to the test. I've done it two times since that I've actually bound business from. And if you don't have good service and the food is crappy, don't do this, because then you're not doing anybody a service. But if you have a good experience, and this just doesn't go with restaurants, this goes with anything. By you going out of your way to say, hey, thank you for what you did for me, and you just so happen to be wearing a piece of your brand, whether it's a name tag. I'm huge on the hats as well. If you're wearing a piece of your brand, people will notice, and they're going to associate your face and your compliments with your brand. So since it's been about 2 months now, I've written 3 commercial policies from it, as well as, I think it was like 2 or 3 personal policies as well, because those business owners, of course, own homes and own vehicles. So just lots of fun stuff happening just because I went out of the way to say thank you and was wearing my brand.
So you just basically unlocked a like age-old problem for commercial insurance producers. I don't even know if you realize this, but so for all the commercial producers that are watching this, this is how you can get in front of a business owner without, you know, walking into a place with your flyers or your business cards and dropping them on the counter. It's very difficult to get in front of, you know, a business owner or a decision maker. You know, if you really want to, you know, succeed in that area, get a name tag and go pay them a compliment and see where it goes. Because, you know, if you ask for the manager or the owner to give them a compliment, the employee is going to try to find that person instead of trying to hide them. You know, I've walked into businesses before and said, hey, I'm an insurance agent. I work, there's a chiropractic office right up the street from here. I walked in there one day a while back, and the lady at the front desk, you know, super nice, but it's like as soon as I said I was an insurance agent, she just like the wall came up in front of her.
Get out.
You know, I'll take your information and I'll pass it along. She never passed it along, obviously. I mean, and it's my job and duty to follow up on that and stuff. And but if I were to go in there and say, hey, you know, like, you know, this place is great or whatever, it probably would have been a little bit different reaction. And she probably would have went and got him. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, and I'm currently working with someone. He owns a food truck here locally in Tucson. And kind of to what you just said, you know, asking for a manager or owner, it doesn't have to be an owner. I mean, like you said, it can also be a manager. One of those policies that I wrote was a personal policy for the manager, who I haven't written the commercial restaurant on yet. But it was the manager that said, oh, you know what? I'm paying a boat ton for my auto insurance with one of these big name companies. Can you help me? Well, of course I can. And this is not me initiating anything. I am literally just giving a compliment. They are noticing my name tag and asking me about it. I mean, that is free marketing and branding at its best. So kind of just to go on what you said about follow-up, the bigger key to all this is no matter what your experience in that moment of eating lunch or going to the bank or, you know, whatever, if you have a positive one and you can't get in front of that manager or that owner, send a thank you card. Send one that just says, I really had a great experience. I throw a business card in there. I always tell people don't throw more than one. And the reason you don't want to throw more than one, A, I mean, that's money. Let's save some money here.
Right.
But then B, you don't want them to think you're trying to, hey, take all my cards and pass them to your friends. You're really just trying to provide them, this is who I am, this is what I do, and I wanted to thank you for your business. It's kind of like a mobile name tag, if you will.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess like as this all, you know, rolls back or winds back to the millennial buyer and, you know, how we can brand ourselves for them, I mean, which is obviously very important. I think, I mean, what are some, if we were to give someone like a checklist of, 5 to 10 tips, I guess I would start off by saying SMS messaging.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's huge. If you don't, you asked a question yesterday in a group that we're involved with, and you said, is there another outlet, or you were bringing up SMS messaging, and there wasn't as much response as I thought there would be. And I think a lot of it is because there is a like a haze over the SMS messaging, because it is so new to involve it in your business. And I would just encourage people to not be afraid of it. I would encourage people just to kind of dive in. And if it doesn't work for you, hands off. But I always say implement something for 90 days to really get a reciprocal, or I guess really better word is an ROI on it. But put it in place for 90 days and then see what happens. And then the next, on our checklist, if you will, I would say the biggest thing is you need to make in your mind a note that you are your brand. You have to be your brand. So SMS messaging, commit to your brand. You're a walking brand. I had a friend that talked in a networking group that I was involved in last week, and she said something and it really just hit with me. Your personal Facebook page is your business page. Both. Your business page is your personal. People will look at both, and if there's something you're doing on your personal Facebook page that would not be condoned by your clients or would not be supported, get it off. So being your brand, becoming who you are within your brand is that would be huge for me. That's probably number 2 on my list.
Yeah, that's funny, because when I first started as an agent, this was like 12 years ago, I was like torn on how to approach that type of stuff. I mean, do you switch all of your, do you start writing insurance content on your personal page? Do you start to like market yourself on your personal page? And for a while, I really didn't want to do that. And then I just started slowly sort of integrating it. And it's funny, you get a lot more, you get a better response, I think, on your personal Facebook account, than you do on your business account.
You do. And I think this was shared with me also with someone who specializes in marketing a while ago. But if you are trying to brand yourself as, me, I am Integrity Insurance. Will I always be Integrity Insurance? Well, yeah, but there's going to be other people in my group who are also Integrity Insurance. So it's important to make sure you're all safely housed under the Integrity Insurance umbrella. And when you do something on your business page and you want to share it on your personal page, it's important to do it on your business page and then take that and share it on your personal. And the reason I say that is because you want people to click on your share and take you back over to your business, because ultimately our number one goal is productivity and getting more likes, getting more visits to our website. So if you are posting something about insurance on your personal page, who cares? Nobody's going to look at that, and you're just going to end up looking at someone who's not relatable. So make it business, own it that it's business, and if you need it to be on your personal page, like I do a lot with my blog on Integrity and Heels, I will post it on my business page, but I'll share it on my personal, because it is. I want to make sure more people are reached.
No doubt. So we have SMS. We have SMS. Sorry, we have. Basically being your brand at all times. Obviously email marketing is a big thing. Email, has a 400% higher ROI than social media marketing. There's a reason for that. Obviously social media, they're able to filter certain things out of the stream so that you have to buy that attention back from them. Email obviously is the most direct route to somebody. People check their email 10 to 20 times a day, if not more. So if you're an independent agent or, financial advisor who's out there, you need to really, step your email game up. There's plenty of apps out there that you can get started with: MailChimp, Aweber, Infusionsoft, Active Campaign, or just a couple. But email is a huge thing. I mean, you have to be dripping on people. And it's a great way to not only market to maybe some prospects, but it's a great way to, I guess, nurture the relationship that you have with your existing clients and customers as well, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So gosh, where are we at? We're at SMS messaging, being your brand. We've got
email, social media,
email,
obviously is like
social media.
that's pretty obvious.
Yeah. I would also just say probably, what are we at? Number 5? Is that where we're at?
Yeah, I think 4 or 5. Yeah.
4 or 5. Okay. So I would say probably the next biggest thing is you need to create a call to action for your brand. So what are you actually asking people to do? Are you asking them to call you for a quote, or are you kind of confusing your brand maybe a little and asking people to read things from you? So if you really are, if you're a CPA or an insurance agent or whatever, what is our number one goal? Our number one goal is to write business, keep clients, and make sure that they're getting superior customer service. So with doing that, we need to keep in mind that is our goal. So I would say don't confuse your brand would probably be my number 4 or 5. Pick what you do, stay true to it, and if you need to branch off and do some other things, maybe put that a little bit behind your main goal.
Yeah, and it's important. You bring up a good point, because branding is not just a logo or whatever. It's really the customer experience that you can provide. It's the feeling that people get when they do business with you or interact with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's very important.
Mm-hmm. The warm and fuzzies. You're trying to create butts and chairs to get people to talk to you in front of you. And you want the warm and fuzzies because you want them to stick around. So that's huge. So are we 5 or 6? We're at 6 now, maybe?
Yeah, I think we're at.
I feel like our counting is skewed, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all good. Yeah. So we have texting, social media, email marketing, be your brand, customer experience. Yes. What about another one that I always think about, again, with the millennials, and able to provide people with like instant feedback. A lot of people don't really like this, but I kind of prefer to do this. Like if I'm on a website and they have a live chat box, some people think live chat is kind of annoying, but I love when there's a live chat. Like if I have a problem with my cell phone bill, or especially if I want to like cancel or downgrade my cable package, because how cable, they just like they rope you in
all day long.
Yeah, they rope you in, and then so if there's live chat on a website, I kind of like that because it's instant feedback. It's almost like texting. But yeah, that could be a little tip if you have live chat functionality on the site. I don't think it's a necessity to have on your website, especially if you can't really man it 24 hours a day, which not many people do anyway. But that could be something that could be, I guess, applicable to marketing or branding to Gen Y.
Absolutely. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I am not the website expert. In fact, I am basically anything tech website related, I just call you. So correct me if I'm wrong, but there must be some sort of capability on that live chat where you can actually let clients know the hours that you're available for live chat, correct?
Yeah, so you can set it up so that it automatically becomes available between like 9 and 5. And if it's not, somebody comes to the website and it's not turned on, they have the ability to leave you an email or a message or whatever through the chat. So it's a great way, honestly, to get leads, because if somebody comes to a site and they have a quick question and they have to enter their email in to chat with you, you just collected an email that can go to your autoresponder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's so great. That's so great. And I would just say, don't be scared. And maybe that kicks us into our number 7 or 8, wherever we're at. But don't be scared of the new tech. And it's okay if you mess up. It's okay if you do something that doesn't work for your agency. There are agents who are probably looking at this right now thinking, oh, you guys are crazy. I've been in the business for 30 years and I've never done anything like this. And I say all power to you. That's fantastic. But in my world where I am right now and where I want to be, that doesn't work for me. So do the live chat And then the 7 or 8, I would say, don't be afraid of the Google Hangouts or the Skype or the live stuff. Customers like it, and it creates a rapport of, oh my gosh, my insurance agent can do this. My insurance agent, I can literally hit this button and call her, and she'll pop up on the screen. So it is. People like it. I've used it. I actually just used it yesterday for a client that I was writing out of state. I actually ended up doing it through Skype. That was easier for him, but he thought it was just awesome.
Yeah.
So with the live chat and the live streaming, if you will, we can even bundle those together, but don't be scared of it. Just do it. It's fun.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the other thing too. And maybe this could be a step in the process, is like, you know, the technology, like you're saying, like a lot of agencies, they're not really tech savvy. And that could be, honestly, that could be kind of problematic for you to grow. I mean, you need to be on the level of the Gen Y consumer. And if that means being active on, you know, a mobile app like Meerkat or Periscope or one of these like trendy apps, I mean, that kind of stuff can really help you expand. And, you know, it's not something that you have to do 24 hours a day. I mean, you can get online, you know, a couple minutes a day, maybe 10, 15 minutes a day, share a couple articles online, you know, participate in a couple chats on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. I think a lot of times people, like you said, they're kind of afraid. They don't want to commit the time because they assume that it's this, like, you know, this big process. And in reality, it's really not that difficult to be, you know, active on social media or active on, you know, an app like Periscope or Meerkat or, you know, Skype or Google Plus Hangout. I mean, yeah, that's definitely a great point. I think technology is a huge barrier for a lot of agencies or firm owners in, you know, marketing to millennial buyers. That's a big problem.
Absolutely. And I feel like when you're saturating the market, it's important to have that consistency and say, okay, you can't be really great at certain technological things, but really bad with other ones. So now obviously I'm a little biased because you're taking care of my website, and you really just put me on a road that I never even thought was possible for my brand. But in doing that, it allows me to be consistent overall. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on this, you know, and there's a lot of huge name independent insurance agents in this country who do such an amazing job of that already. But they're, for maybe someone who's an older agency or maybe someone who's just starting and has no idea what to do, I feel like being consistent with your technology is important. Staying on top of it as well, I think, is where I was trying to go with that.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things, kind of give a shameless plug here, but with Advisor Evolved, there's a couple different parts to it, but one of the, probably the best feature in my opinion, and is probably worth the price of admission by itself, is customers that are in our premium plan actually have access to like a members only library of marketing resources, a lot of screen recording videos, and a lot of it is very advanced, but there's a lot of stuff that is very basic, like, you know, how to set up your agency email through Google Apps, or how to set up Google Analytics on your website. Because I realize that, you know, I'm dealing with a lot of different agencies. Some are young, some are older, and technology is always a barrier no matter your age or whatever. But a lot of the stuff on the back end is like showing people how to remove that barrier and how to use their website as a tool instead of just a digital business card. So once that premium plan rolls out, I think that's going to be pretty cool, because you'll be able to go back there at any time. And, you know, if you need help setting up your MailChimp or your Aweber account, there's going to be videos for all that stuff back there.
It's so invaluable. I mean, it's just, I can't even, I'm so excited for July 1st. I can't even contain myself. Every time we talk about my new website, I just get so excited. But back on track for me, because I easily go off tangent. I think we're on like 9 or 10. My other thought was creating an environment that is consistent with your brand. So your agency that we talked about earlier, people in our millennium, people who are looking to do business with people that they know, like, and trust, of course, is they're looking for someone who looks like they have it together. You gotta not only look like you have it together, you have to actually have it together. So not to say that if you have a desk full of covered papers that you're not successful. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that if you're looking to attract the type of new clientele that my branding is consistent with, you've got to pretty much be them. You've got to allow yourself to be streamlined. If you can go paperless, do it. It is just so cool that I'm able to say, yeah, no, Integrity Insurance is, we're 100% paperless. So if something were ever to happen, we would be safe. We would be totally fine. Our customers' files would be taken care of. So that is so important to my brand, because I'm providing my customers a consistency with what you see with me is what you get in your business and what you get in your policy and customer service. Integrity is everywhere.
Yeah, no doubt. That's huge. Yeah, I think we covered a lot of good stuff. I mean, it's just one of those things where, you know, no matter whether or not you're trying to brand for Generation Y or Generation X or whatever generation it is, it's just very important to think about it, you know, because there's a reason why they buy brand name macaroni and cheese in the grocery store when right next to it, you know, there's the No Frills brand that's like $1 less. I mean, you could save a lot of money by not buying the branded products, but day after day, people still buy the brand name stuff because
you got it.
Know, like, and trust that brand. So absolutely. I guess the message here today is, and it doesn't just apply to Gen Y or millennials or whatever, is, you know, really take a step back and look at your brand from afar, you know, hire a professional if you need to. I mean, you know, there's a lot of good designers and there's a lot of good consultants out there. You know, I would advise people to call Erin. I mean, Erin Nutting, you know, you're an agent, but you could probably also easily be a full-time, you know, agency branding consultant. So
one day at a time, Chris, one day at a time.
Yeah, I mean, I probably just got you, you're going to have a bunch of emails and phone calls. So sorry if I just blew up your.
No, I welcome them. You know, I've had the privilege of, getting to be a new business owner with a lot of insurance experience, but there's no manual for this stuff. There's no how-to brand, and maybe my branding isn't for you. You know, I've had lots of people say, oh, well, that just doesn't fit my demographic, and that is great. And I welcome anyone to give me criticism or think of where I can do something differently. So no, I welcome any questions. Anything that anybody has, email me, call me, whatever you want to do, even if it's just to kind of, you know, talk about maybe taking your brand to another level. I think that's just so fun. And if you are not in love with your brand, it is time to find a new one. So that's my biggest tip, I would say, is you really need to encompass everything about your brand. And if you have questions or comments, call me anytime. I am always around.
Yeah, and we'll throw your contact info in the show notes below.
Perfect.
Is there anything else that you think we missed? I mean, I think we're right up at about 45 minutes or so.
No, I don't think so. Obviously, we have. I mean, this is just the iceberg. I could talk about branding until my eyes popped out of my sockets, just because of how much stuff that we actually do on a daily basis that you don't even realize you're doing, that you're creating a brand. But my biggest tip, I would say, is find a brand that you love and become it and stick to it, because it is so important that you create a positive experience with your brand, because all it takes is one time for you not to create that experience and boom, you're done. Your brand is now associated with poor customer service or poor quality. So I think we covered a ton of information, and hopefully as Advisor Evolved unleashes our website on July 1st, we could do another podcast just to give a little where are we now kind of thing, and see what kind of success we had. We're so pumped at Integrity to take it to the next level and to see what that does.
Yeah, definitely. We could turn this into a little branding series, you know. This is part one. Maybe we'll have a couple more
we could do that.
A couple more parts to it.
Absolutely. We could totally do that. It's fun. Branding is a huge passion of mine, and everyone brands differently. You know, everyone's got their own style and what they believe in, and that's really important. And you need to create an authentic brand to you. So I encourage you to be your brand and own it with a lot of passion.
Yeah, and I would tell everybody, so behind me you'll see the hashtag
Oh,
integrity matters. And if anybody has any questions for Erin, make sure you hit her up with that hashtag on Twitter or Facebook or wherever. And
yeah.
yeah, that's a pretty cool thing. So that's another tip too, is to, think about maybe a hashtag for your agency as well.
Yeah, great tip. Great tip. And you know what? And I can't even really even take credit for that because a friend of mine suggested that we go that route. And honestly, it's been amazing. And don't be afraid to ask questions for your peers. I can't tell you how many times I'm like, oh, why didn't I think of that? So no, I'm really excited. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, Erin, thanks for being on the first ever episode, the first ever hangout for Advisor Evolved. And if you guys have questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. You can find us. My website is advisorevolve.com. Erin's new website, we're gonna keep that behind a curtain for right now, but eventually you guys will be able to see the new awesome site. So again, Erin, thanks so much for being on, and I'm sure that you'll definitely be back on the show again.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, take care.
Thanks.